Let me ask you a question. Because if you've looked in, huh?
I don't either.
Well, you don't believe what, Stacy, that we went to the moon?
Right.
Let me ask you, Rob, you said you do, right?
Yeah, I didn't used to, but I do now.
Okay, so why is it like where like multiple times they've caught people saying that they're like supposedly astronauts, like that one from the one woman who's like saying she's an astronaut, it's like, about hopefully one day we'll be able to get to the moon. Like, multiple times people have said that one day we'll figure out how to get past the Van Ryan belts. Like, why when they slip up and say these things? I
Yeah,
mean, have you seen those? I mean,
yeah,
I've seen like three accounts of that.
yeah. I've seen that before.
So, I mean, I'm just curious, like when they say this stuff, like on a live, you know, um,
Yeah,
interview.
one of them is called the Orion Project, which is a NASA thing that they say that, they have to first figure out how to
How to,
send people safely through the Van Allen radiation belt because they're like, we first got to send them through it, but then we got to bring them back through it.
Now,
So we
Van
first have
Allen,
to figure out, and it's only 3,000 miles above the Earth, apparently.
Doc- Dr. Van Allen, before the astronauts went out, he said they can't do that. They'll die from radiation.
yeah, I saw
And,
that.
and then he says, "Oh, well, I was wrong." And the only reason for him being wrong is because he said because they came and came back and they're alive. But the
Yeah, and
mathematics,
then they
physics,
and then they interview. Have you ever seen the interviews of the astronauts? They'll go and ask the people. They'll be like, "Well, what about the radiation? Like, did you guys prepare? Like, what did you do when you went through it?" And he says, the astronaut says, "If we went through anything, we didn't notice anything." So
Yeah,
it's
I've
like if
looked into all of
everybody
that stuff
says,
before, but where I was going with it was okay. You know how like a lot of I believe we did go to the moon. Albert doesn't. So anyhow, he was saying, uh, you have a lot of people that say the Earth is going to be burned up and it'll be destroyed. And he's
mm-hmm,
like, well, if you can go to the moon, you can just escape that. You can hang out on the moon while the Earth is burned up. And
"True that."
I'm like, yeah, I'll have to bring that up to my preacher friend that says the Earth is going to be burned up. I'll be like, well, what do you do about the astronauts or the people that are on the moon when the Earth is burned up?
Well, they wouldn't they say? I just came to my mind that it also says like the heavens and the it says in Second Peter 3 it says the heavens shall roll away or something.
like a
I don't
scroll.
want to. Yeah, well, I don't want
So
to
you'd
quote it
be
word for
rolled
word.
up and then the Earth would be burned up, huh?
Yeah, and it says all the
You're in a fruit
elements.
roll up moon.
Yeah, so technically you'd be like squished. I guess I don't know if that would feel good, but who knows? I mean, fruit roll-ups are delicious. So it says here, look, it says, but the day of the Lord will come like a thief, and the heavens will pass away. So I know in the Old Testament it talks about they'll be rolled up.
Yeah.
So, aka mean the same thing, pass away, rolled up, whatever.
But to answer your question, Chris, about that, yeah, I've looked into that before. I think I would say they went around the Van Allen belts for the most part, and that perspectives have changed on, you know, people make things out of nothing. Like, oh, it's dangerous and we got to look out for it. Yeah, it is, but they're just their frame of mind, and they're trying to like glorify something that
Well, the
make it
thing
sound.
I hear what you're saying, but this is my thing, right? If I say, how do we get to, um, all right, how can I put this? Okay, let's just say, we got a piece of, let's just say Lake Okeechobee, right?
Uh huh.
You know Lake Okeechobee?
Yeah, in Florida. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say there's a little island in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some people say one day we'll figure out how to get over, across that lake into that island, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say, oh, in 1960, we built a bridge there. We get there however we want, right? Why would some people say, well, one day we'll figure out how to get across that water?
I would say they'd say that because they're idiots.
Well, that's hence what I'm saying about these people that are so-called astronauts. If you got around it, you don't even need to worry about the Van Allen belts. Why would people slip up and say, "Well, one day we'll figure out how to get through it"? Well, you don't need to figure out how to get through it. You can go around it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I just maybe I'm just not?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. They could be saying one day we'll figure out how to go through it, but they're not saying like we already know how to go around it.
Well, they say that the Van Allen radiation belt is actually all the way around us, and it protects us from a lot of the radioactive
The
stuff out in the
gravity, right?
and a whole bunch of stuff. It has, I guess, it has to do with like radioaction, like from the sun and whatever. But they say it's 3,000 miles above the Earth, and it's all the way around us. And the thing is, the moon is apparently 250,000 miles.
Right.
So they definitely had to have gone through that radiation belt. And we have done it. How many times have we put people on the moon?
None.
What they say? Like, isn't it like 6 times?
I don't know.
A handful, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say it's 6 times. That means humans have gone through it 12 times because they had to go up and then come back. And, you know, so if you ask them, nothing went wrong.
And
But if you
all of
ask,
the Apollo missions, nothing went wrong. Every single Apollo mission, nothing went wrong. And then when people start losing interest, they have an emergency in Apollo 13. And it's a super emergency. And yet our heroes were able to just master it with duct tape. And then they were able to
yeah,
come back
it's
home.
funny. If you look
Toothpicks
at
and
the
duct
videos
tape.
of what they use to get through there, it's 1960s technology. And in 2013, the Orion project is like, we're using the state of the art technology. We have massive computers running all the data to try to figure out what we're going to use. You know, the spaceship that they're showing you the drawings for is like this crazy thing that it has like these built in. They're even like, oh, we're thinking about putting like a water channel to help, you know, absorb some of the radiation. And they're just like thinking of things. And
What it was,
yeah.
I
it,
think also today we're more paranoid about the health and safety of people. Back then in the 60s and 70s, people didn't care what you did. Were more foolish in some aspects.
well, basically what I think it is the American taxpayers needed to be taxed so that they can have all of these secret covert operations that you don't know anything about. And so they use the space program to use all that money for. And so NASA basically has like a very small amount of funds that is technically supposed to be allotted to it, and that's to keep up appearances. And then the rest of that money goes for all the secret covert operations and stuff like that.
Yeah, these guys got to figure a way to screw us out of as much money as possible. So,
I
you know,
never would have said that had I looked at that live button. I take it all back. We're the greatest nation on earth. We've gone to the moon. And I was just playing with my brothers here. I was showing you how facetious that argument is, you know, that we've not gone to the moon. Of course we've
Yeah, and we love paying our taxes
yeah,
on time. So
yes.
and Donald Trump's the man. So
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that song "I'm the Man"?
whole by 50 Cent.
no.
Nah, that's a new one.
Is there a
What?
song by 50 Cent?
Yeah, it's called I'm the Man.
No. He's like, yo, I'm the man, and my name is 50
I'll
Cent.
have to listen to that one. I like 50 Cent.
Yeah, 50 Cent and Chris Brown, I'm the Man.
Huh. I'll have to check it out.
Fitty.
Now he's just a quarter,
Hmm.
maybe a nickel.
That's funny. People naming themselves like after money and stuff, dollar bill or 50 Cent or next
Creflo
it'll be
Dollar.
next, yeah, Creflo Dollar. Next it'll be Bitcoin shorty. They call me Lil Litecoin. Oh
Hey,
man.
Albert, you got a new friend, and he's in a cage or she's in a cage.
It's a he.
It's a he. Okay. Your new friend's got a nickname. Genesis to Albert.
He must be on one of those wow kicks.
Maybe he is like driving home and he just put it on live as he's driving home.
Oh, Albert went live.
Yeah, he went live.
Albert's out of control, man.
It's interesting. Like right when we started talking about the moon, I think.
Yeah, Albert's like, ooh, this is the good stuff.
Yep.
Actually, he works for the NSA and it just picked up our keywords and it turned on automatically.
So anyway, back to Enoch being Enoch being a solo part of the scriptures.
Well, which Enoch?
Enoch 1.
Oh.
Enoch 2, I forgot which one. I was watching a video, or no, I think it was something where it said all the contradictions in Enoch and Book of Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm. Was there a lot?
I can't remember. I mean, yeah, it was some, but one of them. That's right. I think it was the Book of Adam and Eve, but that one was crazy. So it was on Wikipedia about the contradictions, and it was saying that Adam and Eve had, when they had Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel, huh?
What did it say?
They had twins, girls too. And the real reason that Cain killed Abel was because Abel was supposed to marry his twin sister.
Yeah, I read that.
That's crazy, right? But Cain got mad and killed him. I was like, who the hell made? I was like, my goodness, man.
I love the part where Adam jumps off a cliff and God said, it ain't happening.
Did you read that?
Yeah,
That's
the part that stands out to me too. He threw
that was
himself
the best, man. And then she threw herself down as well. And then the word brought her back as well.
Tried to drown herself too in the river or something.
Yeah.
Man, that's some man. Oof.
What if it turned out to be all true?
You know what I think sometimes, and like this is why I read those things, is like you never know like who comes up with stuff like that to write it, and it makes its way all the way to us, you know. I mean, I know, don't get me wrong, there's all types of books, like fictional books, but just imagine if it was real and like, yeah, they twisted some of the stuff when they like, you know, we had to throw you off a little bit, but yeah, this is what happened. I mean, minus the whole Adam and Eve and sister, but you never know. Imagine it was really twisted like that. Like, you know, I mean, so crazy where there was Nephilim that came down and mated with the humans and they had giants.
I mean, we do have skulls with horns, don't we? I read a thing that
all the time, man. That's why I try to tell Albert that all the time.
That Moses had horns, and I was reading about it, and it was saying that he probably didn't have horns, but he was wearing a hat with a horn.
Celtic hat.
Yeah, something like that.
And he was wearing Jordans.
Now, I think I was my mother has a TV, so I was just flipping through to see, you know, what they were trying to push. I've been noticing that the History Channel has these ancient aliens, and they're playing it all day long.
Yeah.
Trying to say that God was really an alien, and so I think that this is more like the Jews that are pushing this more because they're realizing their Messiah's not coming back, so now they're just going to say he was an alien.
He was an alien now?
Right.
How does that fit into their agenda, though?
Well, it will reconcile the fact that, you know, they're looking for the Messiah to come back as a king. And since he hasn't come back yet, according to their views, that well, he must be an alien and he's just tied up somewhere.
Alf.
There was actually one video that I really, really liked from 119 Ministries, and they go through some of the bowls in Revelation, and they say that one of the bowls is it's the trumpet. Sorry, one of the trumpets is actually like an alien invasion, but it's not really real aliens. It's like the Nephilim spirits. So pretty much what they say is that the Anunnaki, what people believe and stuff, because there's a people group in the book of Numbers that are called the Anak or something. It's kind of like the Anunnakis. And so that they say that these people are the Nephilim spirits. And in the future, like everybody knows that, not everybody, but like the ancient aliens and things upon that nature. So what's going to happen is the aliens are going to come to Earth, right? What they say, or AKA Nephilims or whatever, and they're going to go gather the world leaders, and then that they're going to say, hey, we've been under attack. There's going to be an evil force that's coming here, and he's going to be riding on a horse. And when he comes, he's coming here, and we're going to help you guys fight him. But it's in reality, it's the Anunnaki. It's the
They also
Nephilim
said that
spirits.
the Israelis had a machine, and it had its own like culture, and it was able to heat something up with a laser, and they had all these things. And what it did is it made manna, and it shot it up into the air so it could rain down.
Really? Man, that's kind of like, is that where they got the movie and the book? What is it? Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball?
I mean, like, yeah, why did it need to shoot up in the air? Why can't it just, like, come out of an oven?
Right. I don't have any idea, but they want to do everything they can to just, disprove or diminish God.
Right.
And this is Hollywood, and we know who runs Hollywood.
There's a funny joke that there's these scientists that have figured out a way to actually like create human, and they learned it from the Bible. They say that there was a Bible code that they found, and they used dust of the earth, and that they built a machine and they created a human. And they say, God, we don't need you anymore. We have taken these things and we have created a human, so we don't need you anymore. And God says, okay, well, you know what, well, give me back my ingredients because you're using my dust. So it's just like
Shabbat shalom, everybody. This is Paul Eason from.
What in the world? Paul, what up, man?
Shabbat
My Ministries, thank you for joining us tonight for the Shabbat, the last Shabbat.
Are you on live?
Huh?
Are you on live with him?
No, I was just playing the thing.
Oh, you should go on live.
Yeah, he'll be, boy. He had me right there with his trigger finger right above the mouse. Ready to
You really think he would?
Huh?
You really think he would?
If I said anything. I know he blocks my comments.
But he's your friend.
That's my boy, yeah. But I'm not Hebrew roots, so he gotta be like, oh, hey, careful. Don't be messing up that Hebrew roots, man. What is up with Albert, man?
I actually just got here. I was going to say hi, but I was waiting for the time for you to stop so I could jump in.
Are you driving home?
What are you doing, man?
I had some stuff here I had to take care of.
Hey.
Like,
How long have you been listening?
I only heard the last part that he was talking about Anak and Anunnakis.
Oh, boy, oh boy, he's probably in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff. But as soon as that word Enoch pops up, he gravitates that attention. I didn't for 3 hours we've been talking. All of a sudden, I heard the Enoch thing.
Fallen angels, yeah.
Yeah, pizzas are in the back getting cold because I had to pull over for full attention. Because I will end this hangout right now.
Uh-oh.
I have a new friend.
A new friend.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of new friend?
He's furry.
I've posted him on the chat, the last one where you posted the link,
Oh,
and I call him Albie,
Little Albie.
little Al.
Hey, do you know there's this place called Jimmy Changas, and they have a burrito called the Al Burrito?
no. But I have heard of the Alberine.
Called the Big Owl. Little Owl. My fish is called. I have 4 fish. 2 of them are kind of the same, but there's a little one, a big one. So I call them Big and Smalls.
Where did you get that? Outside?
Nah, Biggie Smalls, you know.
No, he's talking about the mice.
Oh, yeah, he got them inside.
The last hangout, okay, a day before, so this was Tuesday, I noticed there's some scratching on the roof, and then I hear it at night when I'm playing Skyrim. I hear the scratch go all the way down the wall, so I knew something fell inside the wall, and I'm thinking, oh, great, I'm going to have a dead, dehydrated rat or a squirrel or something like that that's coming in out of the cold. And then when we're on the hangout Wednesday, all of a sudden, we're probably in Genesis or something like that, but then all of a sudden I see this little mouse looking at me that's crawled up on my desk and looking at me. So I put out a couple of dehydrated blueberries for it, and the next morning they're gone. And then I immediately go to Amazon and I order a humane trap that you see there. And so I finally got it this afternoon, and so I filled it up with pecan, coconut, cheese, and some blueberries, and then I put it on my desk, and sure enough, when I come back home this evening, he gets caught in it. So I bought a hamster cage today, and so now he's in the hamster cage, and so I've got a little mouse now, field mouse. I couldn't just kill it, that's just wrong.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I find them all the time. They're like trying to get into my chicken feed container, but sometimes
You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to get out of freezing cold ass weather outside.
no, but
Right.
sometimes I'll find one like actually in the mitten, like it got in somehow, and it's
The
like
chicken's gonna eat them.
and now he can't get out, so I like just let him out.
They're like, I have like 0.0005% body fat compared to you humans. I'm freezing my little tail off.
Yeah, but they got a little bit of fur, and they can dig a hole.
In the frozen ground.
They dig a hole.
So this mouse is going on keto, an accelerated learning program, all sorts of things. This
Give him a
mouse,
little bow tie.
this
Right.
mouse is drinking Evian water.
Oh man, he's probably like,
Evian back.
you better not let him go because he's gonna tell all his friends that this guy won't kill us. I promise.
Have you ever seen Ratatouille, Stacy?
No, I haven't. It's probably after I boycotted Hollywood.
It's a kids movie about a rat.
And if you slow it down enough, you can see all types of pornography symbolism to it.
That's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I actually had that frozen, and I could see the pornography in it.
Didn't she have boobs?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, kind of hence the whole movie, really.
And then I saw The Lion King blowing up into the sky, and you could see sex written in the stars.
You know what Disney says about all that stuff, don't you?
Yeah, that they're little gifts to the parents to get.
No, they say that those are from employees that got canned. They put that in there, and they had something against Disney, and that basically those type of things, those employees were all fired.
Well, they some of them say that, and then some of them say this is so that the adults can get entertainment out of it too. Because for you to make a cartoon with a priest with a heart on marrying the woman and the man heroes, in there, and you can actually see it, and it gets released. You don't tell me that the bigwigs at Disney actually saw that and knew that it was there?
Illuminati confirm.
It wasn't until the parents started complaining that they's like, okay, all right, we'll deal with it then.
Your video is gonna get what do they call that?
Flagged.
Yeah, flagged. You have to title it just right, Albert.
It's this title, same title as every time. There's like 17 of them. They'll never find it.
Hey Stacy, look what my picture I just posted too.
All right, that's nice. Cat hat. Is that your cat?
Yeah,
When did you get a cat?
just not too long ago.
I bet she's awesome.
Yeah, she is pretty cool.
That's a nice looking cat too. What is it?
It's a feline.
Almost looks like a Scottish earfold, but it's got its ears.
You gonna get us some kitten mittens?
Seed, you're letting something go forth, and even they're not going to like it. We know they're not going to like the truth. If we tell somebody the truth, if you go tell them, either they're going to accept it or reject it. And the world we live in, sadly now, most of them are going to reject it. EIU College used to have 11,500 kids, and they're teaching them evolution. They're teaching them all these things. 4 or 5 years ago, we could hand boxes of scriptures and prayers and things, and they would take them. You might have one or two that would rip it up or throw it away.
Because it's the end times.
You've just got some little broke down app that you can take a picture and then put that stuff on it. You ain't got a cat.
Yeah, I know. It looked real when I saw it. I was like, "Wow, that actually looks pretty." Like for a split second, I was like, "Dang, bro."
I gotta watch out for this guy.
I have a cat.
But today, they
Oh wow, you can like change the cats too.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat. Oh, is that a Christmas tree?
Stacy, I can change the cat.
Okay.
Now I got like an orange looking cat.
A Morris cat. They call them Morris cats.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh.
Your beard's a little gray there, though.
Shoot. Oh my gosh, I almost pulled my bag out. Oh. Is Albert back? Or did he go back again?
I never went anywhere.
So we gonna read? Or are we
Um,
waiting for somebody? Did Rob leave?
No, he's here. We were waiting on Albert, so he's back.
Alberto.
did he?
Just went out and gave my cat some water, so I was just away for a moment. All the talk reminded me it's probably frozen, so gotta get some more water for him.
Romans 14. That's the one I mentioned to the elders.
Yeah, I've been wanting to read that because I don't know. I think I mentioned it twice to somebody. Oh, and I brought up the thing about would you tell the little girl
Did you?
if it was a stuffed animal?
Uh-huh.
And you know what they said about me?
What did they say?
You would tell that little girl it's fake. And so I said, really? I said, my goodness. Yeah, people don't have much. People don't think very highly of me. I said, I would definitely not say that. I guess to the grown up, I would, but not to the 5-year-old. Well, it's the same concept. I got you. No, it's just my goodness.
I'm seeing pretty much everybody 5-year-old now.
I'm gonna have to, man. It's just tough. I have to like start, you know.
And then some of them you can see as spoiled little brats. That's true. But then you just got to shake your head and go, other people's children.
Yeah. You can't say it's okay. You're just a child of the devil, but we still love you. We'll pray for you.
Oh, snap.
So I guess we got everybody we got.
Yep.
Who wants to read 14? Stacy?
All right, I'll read it.
This is your chapter.
Yep, it is. Okay, I'll use the ESV.
Hold on.
Hold on, let me get to the ESV.
Yeah, hold on. One
ESV. Romans 14.
I'm just going to point out, though, it's in here already, but this has nothing to do with food. It's being applied to food.
What verse?
It has to do with fasting, bro.
What verse? The whole
It's
chapter.
like 1 through. Well, I mean, the whole chapter.
I brought this
does
up
talk
to my
about
wife.
food.
I said, I'll eat a bacon sandwich. I don't have a problem with it. But if I was out with like Paul Neeson, I wouldn't eat that because, and I wouldn't even mention about it, you know.
I actually offended Dustin because I was bragging on you, Chris.
About eating the bacon?
About a little over almost a year ago or something.
Yeah, I remember.
I never would have done that had I known that it would offend him. I thought, he was on the same page as we were.
I think he was at some point. I think you just started rubbing him the whole way. He went rubbing him the wrong way. He went back to that. You know what I mean? Or no?
I think it had to do also with the baptism
and the circumcision.
Yeah.
And the food. Yeah.
Yeah, those 3 things kind of.
Has anybody talked to him at all?
I spoke to him. I've spoke to him when I was up there in North Carolina.
Wasn't that a year ago?
No, it was like maybe like in the summer.
You spoke to him on the phone, or you saw him?
I was gonna go see him, but he was working the day that I was up in Murphy, and we were gonna go have dinner with his family and my family, but it just never happened.
Isn't he still on this thing, right?
Yeah, I still see his invite thing. His little icon.
He's really hanging on to that What do you call it? TIFF?
Mm-hmm.
What's a tiff?
Photo. But
No,
that.
is it a TIFF, right? What do you call it? You're going, hanging on to the whole little a TIFF. Is that the right word I'm looking at?
I've never heard that word before. I
motif.
heard a tiff.
No, you have a tiff with somebody. You're having a little tiff.
Oh, tat.
Yeah, you have a
tit
tiff.
and tat.
Isn't tiff and a tat?
Just tiff. You have. Oh, you say. Hold on, tiff. Let me Google definition. Tiff. A petty quarrel, especially one between friends or lovers. It's a tiff. You say, oh, you guys had a little tiff. You never heard that saying before?
Maybe I've heard tiff for tat or something like that. Is that
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Tit for tat. But
Yes, I've heard that. But I didn't know. I thought it was like tit for tat. That's what I always thought that person was saying.
Tit for tat.
Yeah, a tiff is it's a noun, a petty quarrel. So yeah, say, oh, y'all had a little tiff. That's what I was saying. He's hanging on to that tiff for a while.
I gotcha. Yeah.
hey,
Because
when you,
I reached out to him, he didn't reply. So
yeah, I'm a Nicolaitan myself, according to him.
that's a good thing, right?
They're the ones that had sex cults, and he said, "Well, it's a package deal. It's a package deal because you don't want to believe in the dietary laws. You're no different to God in His eyes than you are having, sex.
Oh, well, that's oh yeah, he's not here. So
You have Gnostic tendencies, so you're not allowed to read the Bible."
yeah. Hey, did we ever go over the female Holy Spirit?
Yeah, I think we talked about
I think
that.
so.
I don't
Because
remember.
Lori brought it up to me. She's like, "Oh, what do you think about this?" I said, "It would make sense. You got the Father, Son, and the Mother, and then the Holy Spirit's mentioned. Wisdom is her. I mean, the female aspect had to come from somewhere.
Yeah, the image of us or whatever.
Well, just like since you have woman, like God created woman as well, so you figure maybe there's like a whole family up there.
But
I
then,
don't.
Right.
a lot of more modern thinking now is that God really is above the gender of male and female. So a lot of the newer translations are taking out the personal male pronouns and stuff.
They say it in capital IT.
Is that kind of like a transgender thing, though?
No, that's just saying that, being always saying he and his, that's sort of like male, the
Limiting
male
God.
dominance of the time, yeah, and limiting God because he would have a female persona as well as the male.
Like a Barbie doll, If you think about like a male Barbie doll, but well, that's kind of too. I don't know. So I don't know how to keep.
Like Baphomet. Baphomet.
There's
head.
no crotch.
Mm.
I mean, the Bible does say that he created Adam in his own image, but then Eve was created from Adam.
But then it
So
also
maybe like the woman was always in the man.
Does
I mean, I've
say
heard
Adam and Eve were created in our image?
yes, it does say that too.
What were you gonna say, Stacy?
It says in their image he created them, and it was talking about Adam and Eve.
Let me look.
So then we were creating Adam in Eve's image, then, right?
Adam and Eve both were created in the image of God.
Oh, I thought it was. Yeah, because I know Steven Anderson does that one in Genesis where it says like he created, and then I just remember him going over that with the whole stress on that one. He is crazy, so I'll tell you that guy's out of control, man.
I haven't seen anything with his stuff lately. It hasn't been popping up on my radar.
Oh, he puts stuff multiple times. He's got like 5, 6 different channels. You know that, right?
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's got Sanderson, 6'11".
Uh, Zach, you want to read
Yeah.
Genesis 1, 26, and 27.
I know that that's the part where he says he made man and woman.
Right.
But yeah, let me see. Yeah, let us make man in our own image and in our own likeness, and let them rule over the flesh of the sea and over the birds. Yeah, so God created the man in his own image. In the image, he's created a man and female.
But in 26.
Yeah, I
In
read
27.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just read that. Yeah.
You're reading from that Hebrew Roots Bible, aren't you?
Yeah. Why? What's different? I don't think there's anything different than that.
Said male and female, he created them, or how did you say it? 27?
It says, and God created the man in his own image. In the image he created him. He created them male and female.
Okay.
But it's interesting how, like, see, that's how people believe that there are other humans before, because they'll say that in chapter 1 of Genesis, he created
Right.
humans. And then in chapter 2, this is Adam and Eve. But I don't believe, I just think, like, this part right here is maybe not, it could be in the correct place. It could be out of place. It could be just like an overall statement, but that actually hasn't happened in time.
The CEV, which is the contemporary English version, it says, God created humans to be like himself. He made men and women.
Yeah. Well, maybe that doesn't have anything to do with their actual physical appearance. Maybe it could be like those emotions and
Right.
maybe like that. It doesn't have to be physical.
Right.
Because, like, think about it. Like, if it's physical, that means, like, I know, especially in your view, Stacy. I mean, technically, I mean, I'm still, I don't know, but it's like when you go in heaven, do you see
You're still
two
what?
thrones? Like, do you see two thrones? Like, because God is the image of, like, a person with a head and arms and feet and toes. Like, is it two people that you look at? Is it one person that you look at? Just thought of it like you don't see the Father. Like, the Father is something that is not.
See.
You always see the Son,
Right.
and the Son would be the, that human figure image. Gee.
And it don't say nothing about the mum.
The mom? The mom?
Yeah, the mum.
That's the Holy Spirit.
What do you? Oh, yeah. But then that would, like, because another thing which is interesting is the, like, a lot of the places, like, like where the Bible will say, and I will send him and he will dwell in you, and like things like that. That word, sometimes doesn't have to be it doesn't have to necessarily be a he, like a man. It could be it. So I remember Stacy showing me that. I mean, but does it have to always have a gender? I mean, I don't know. Gender word or adjective or whatever doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a actual
Physical representation for that, right?
Yeah,
Because the word itself could be masculine or feminine.
yeah,
The church, the ecclesia, is a feminine noun.
yeah. We are the church. That's why, like, he's gonna marry it, you know. So it's feminine.
What's that screaming?
It's my son.
Oh. You all right?
I guess.
That boy's got some good lungs.
You tell him you gotta go in there and say, "I'll give you something to cry about."
Well, I'm ready when you guys are.
So you're not Stacy anymore?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready, steady. Go ahead.
All right. Romans 14. As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person only eats vegetables. Do not let the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for God has welcomed him. Who are you to pass judgment on the servant of another? It is before his own master that he stands or falls, and he will be upheld, for the Lord is able to make him stand. One person esteems one day as better than another, while another esteems all days alike. Each one should be fully convinced in his own mind. The one who observes the day observes it in honor of the Lord. The one who eats, eats in honor of the Lord, since he gives thanks to God, while the one who abstains, abstains in honor of the Lord and gives thanks to God. For none of us lives to himself, and none of us dies to himself. For if we live to the Lord. If we die to the Lord. So then, whether we live or whether we die, we are the Lord's. For to this end Christ died and lived again, that he might be the Lord both of the dead and the living. Why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or you, why do you despise your brother? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God. For it is written, As I live, says the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to God. So then each of us will give an account of himself to God. Therefore, let us not pass judgment on one another any longer, but rather decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother. I know and am persuaded in the Lord Jesus that nothing is unclean in itself, but it is unclean for anyone who thinks it unclean. For if your brother is grieved by what you eat, you are no longer walking in love. By what you eat, do not destroy the one from whom Christ died. So do not let what you regard as good be spoken of as evil. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of eating and drinking, but of righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit. Whoever thus serves Christ is acceptable to God and approved by men. So then let us pursue what makes for peace and for mutual upbuilding. Do not, for the sake of food, destroy the work of God. Everything is indeed clean, but it is wrong for anyone to make another stumble by what he eats. It is good not to eat meat or drink wine or do anything that causes your brother to stumble. The faith that you have, keep between yourself and God. Blessed is the one who has no reason to pass judgment on himself for what he approves. But whoever has doubts is condemned if he eats, because the eating is not from faith. For whatever does not proceed from faith is sin.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty
So,
powerful.
how many of you guys think that this wasn't talking about pig?
I mean, this is definitely talking about the Sabbath.
And it's also talking about the dietary laws, but yet well, okay, it's being applied to the Sabbath and it's being applied
No,
to the
I don't.
diet
I don't think. I don't think it's talking about the Sabbath.
or some festival or holiday or something like that, but it's being applied to that.
See, the one thing is, I see what you're saying. Like I would always take it as the fasting thing, but where it says in verse 2, where it says the word vegetables, see, that's the thing that's like, interesting. So it can't be somebody who doesn't eat anything, because the context is somebody who eats all things, or, what's food? You're not going to eat a piece of a rock. You're going to eat food. The other one eats only vegetables. The one eating, so the AKA, the parallelism is the one eating food, like meat and stuff. Do not despise the one not eating, aka the one that doesn't eat that meat. And the one not eating, do not judge the one eating, for receive him. But then what's interesting is verse 5. Like, let me just keep reading verse 4. Who are you judging another servant? To his own master he stands or falls, but he will stand, for his master is able to make him stand. One indeed judges a day above another day, and another one judges every day alike. Let each one be fully assured in his own mind. So, question, is he continually talking about something to do with food, or is he going from food, the Sabbath, back to food in verse 6? Because that doesn't make any sense.
He's showing you a principle and he's applying it to these areas, but it's not limited to those two areas. It's basically do not cause your weaker brother to stumble. If he doesn't have as much freedom, or he thinks he doesn't have as much freedom as you do, you don't despise him. And likewise, the weaker brother is not to despise you because of your freedom, but you are not to exercise that freedom in front of him, because if it causes him to stumble, then you stop walking in love.
I mean, to me, it just sounds like this whole chapter is about food. It starts out with food, the middle is about food, the ending is about food.
So then, where it says, well,
I guess not 100%
17,
everything, because
for 17, so it says, for the kingdom of God is not a matter of eating and drinking. Doesn't have anything to do with food, but of righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Spirit. See, verse 17 shows you it doesn't have anything to do with food.
mm-hmm.
What if they're not?
Well, this
Like, what if it's a guy that's like clearly coming to try and kill you? Then what? Can you throw stumbling blocks in front of him?
maybe. Can you play video games with him?
Play chess with him?
I mean, I see what you're saying, though, Stacey. How it's like it has nothing to do with food, but righteousness. But I mean, like, the chapter is literally talking about eating food. So now let's just
It's
say
the
it's
application.
spiritual.
No, I wouldn't think it has to do with spiritual. And I guess you could try to make it that way, but it's just being applied to something that was a problem at the time. And so he has this truth, and he's applying that truth to food. Does that make sense? Because look
So
at the
he's
very
pretty
end.
much showing. So he's showing, like, what I'm understanding. What you're saying is he's showing, like, I guess, true I guess, maybe brotherly love and not putting burdens upon somebody.
Yes.
But he's using a physical thing, which was eating
As an example.
foods, as an example.
Right.
So, but also, could I actually say, well, hey, listen, Paul is also saying food doesn't matter. Like, you could go eat pig.
Right.
So it's also it's literal and physical, but also metaphoric.
But see, he saying for him, he knows all things have been made by God. He could eat anything he wants, but he also feels that if he were to eat that pig in front of somebody else that didn't hold that freedom, that he would be sinning because he would not be walking in love. So in a sense, you can
Yeah,
eat pig, but then you can't eat pig.
Circumstance.
yeah,
Circumstance.
yeah, exactly. Like he says in another place, whatever is set before you, eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But sometimes I'm still like, ugh. Like I went to my mother-in-law's house on a Christmas, and they had made a big old ham, and I was like, yeah.
Like, you mean a
But
ham like you just cut, or are you talking about like a pig?
yeah, like my father-in-law like bought like a ham and cooked it.
Like a big ham, not like a pig, is what I'm saying.
No, like pig ham.
No,
It's
no,
the
no, no, no.
buttocks.
I mean, like, I'm not talking about like
Pork.
like a Christmas ham, and then I'm talking about like a roasted pig.
Oh, well,
You talking
it's
about like a
not one of
Christmas
those.
ham?
It wasn't like a spiral honey baked ham. It was just a regular ham that you buy from the store and cook it yourself. But it's the same meat though, the same animal, pig.
No, I got what you're saying. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
what
no,
I
he
mean is
just
like there's a difference between like if you had gotten like I guess a ham is a ham, but I'm just thinking of like
yeah,
a roasted pig
yeah.
because
That
that's nasty. I could eat ham, but when it's like
Right. I wouldn't like to do that either.
Oh, dude, I remember
because
like
like
a few
roasted
years
pig,
ago,
man,
I
stinks.
went. Nah, I remember, man, selling that stuff at Penn Dutch, man. That stuff was. It's because of the seasoning, though. Like my manager, we would sell the pig, and she would season it. She would do something, man. She would put her foot in it, man. Like really hook it up. And then I remember one year I actually went to somebody's, I think like in the Cuban like culture, it's like really big for like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, one of those two.
My
It's the
family, we that or Sandy's family, we used to go every year. We get a pig, a full pig, and cook it,
in a China box.
and you know, it's I
It
don't
was
know.
pretty good when I remember eating it. Like I definitely wasn't like, oh, this is
Were you
gross. Ew.
high?
No, not at all.
Oh, I don't
And
know.
I remember taking the skin, and it was like a chip. It was like crunchy and salty and
Go eat
fatty.
it now, though, and tell me.
Ugh.
How about pork rinds? Are those actually pig skin?
That's pig skin
Oh,
fried.
those are good, man.
Those
Oh,
are
in the
good. Or
ketogenic diet,
No,
Chris?
but like the fake ones, the ones that are like in a
and like the
the
bag of chips.
bags, yeah, like you know, not the ones they sell at Publix that are like at like Cuban stores or stuff, but like
Not
the
the dog
ones,
treat version.
huh?
Not the dog treat version. Then you like
No, no,
when you
man,
have
that's
yours.
nasty, man. That's nasty, dude. No, you
Now,
want the ones that are like potato chip type bags.
mm,
Really, really processed fake ones. Those are great.
Think about Hebrew Israelites listening to us. They're probably we're damned.
That's okay. They can change the channel.
I mean, haven't you read Isaiah 66?
Yeah.
He's coming
Yeah,
down,
we're eating the pig behind.
swine and the mouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, I definitely see, what he says here. Now
19.
I see it clear as day.
19.
So then let us pursue the things of peace and the
When he says
things
you
of
can eat all
building.
things, did he mean all things?
Well, all doesn't always mean all, but all means like food. You're not gonna go get like a poisonous tree frog and be like, all right, I'm gonna. That's how
What
I
if
would take
it
it.
all include ham?
Didn't the
Ooh, that's a good
Gentiles
question.
didn't the Gentiles eat ham?
Yeah, it's pretty much like what did they eat? Like if you look at the background of this book, it was Gentiles like in Rome and then the Jews like coming back. So it's like you kind of have like this two kind of cultures coming clashing together and Paul's trying to like, fix everything and be like, "Hey, grew up their whole life living like this."
So I mean, what would that be like as far as like other things like Christmas and Halloween? I mean, they grew up their whole life doing that too, right?
Oh, you mean that is
Right.
pagan.
No, no, it's the same principle.
Pagan.
What were you thinking, Stacy?
It's the same principle. I mean, they believe Christ was born on Christmas, and they're all in that cheerful mood, and they're doing this, and they believe they're serving the Lord. Well, guess what? They are also God's servants. Or you don't know if you're going to take the Calvinistic approach. You don't know whether they are or not, but you're not to really judge them and say, well, I know more truth than you, and this day that you set aside, it's nothing. It's just an ordinary day. In
Mm.
fact, most likely that Christ was not born on that day. For 364 days, there's possibility that Christ was born on those days, but that day, I can tell you for sure he was never born. What are you doing? You're not pursuing for what makes for peace and mutual upbuilding.
Yeah,
Oh, but I'm
I was thinking
speaking in
it was the
love.
same
Oh, but I'm
principle.
speaking in love. No, you're not.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like the same principle. Like, if food, why can't we extend it to those things as well? No, and like you said, we can't judge people's eternity. I think that's the one thing we can't judge. We can maybe judge their sins, but then, some people would say, well, that's sin. But I think, we got to give them a little bit of leeway, not be so judgmental.
Because they're going to stand before their own God, just like you are.
Mm-hmm.
So let God be the one on the throne.
Actually, I'm not going to stand. I'm going to kneel.
We'll all kneel, every
Yeah.
knee.
Yeah.
In that instance, I think that every does mean every, and all or every tongue, I think will mean every tongue.
Is it too late then to kneel?
Some people say that's why full preterism is false, because every knee hasn't bowed yet, because there's atheists on the earth. Yet, it doesn't say that it's all going to be done at one time.
Right. I believe when you die, you're going to be right in front of them, and each person got to go through it.
Right. I think that too. But they believe, no, we're all going to be in the ground, or we're up in heaven, but yet we're going to be brought back and put in our bodies, and then we're going to be judged, and then we'll all kneel at the same time. I think that's just tradition.
Yeah, we kind of see that in the movies, and here comes the king, and the whole army kneels, and
Even in the tarot deck, the card Judgment, that's exactly what you see. Is you see an angel blowing a trumpet and people coming out of their coffins.
I mean, I know people would say like, well, not like that, but like in John chapter 3, the Bible says that those people that don't believe, they're already condemned already. So it's
speaking
like the
of
judgment
tarot
is
decks,
like,
is tarot decks like anti-Christian, okay Christian, or you guys' thoughts?
I use the tarot deck sometimes to minister to Christians.
I was kind of looking into it about 3 weeks ago, and I definitely found it interesting.
The way I do it is I shuffle them right side up so you can see all the pictures. In fact, I make them take each card and just look at it, just flipping it on the table. I say you don't even have to really consciously know what you're doing, but just, just flip them down, and just so you're actually glancing at every card. And then I shuffle the deck, and then I have them cut it, and then I spread them out face down, and then I have them pick a card or 3 cards or something. And so their subconscious is actually picking the card. And I tell them this is all psychology. This has nothing to do with spirits or demons or anything like that. That this is all just you and your subconscious. Because there's also a technique that a psychiatrist or psychologist will use. They especially do it for children or people that can't articulate their fears or their ideas very well. And they'll give them a pen or a pencil and a sheet of paper, and they'll say, just draw something. And then they'll end up drawing something. But whatever they do, I mean, they're like, I don't know what to draw. And they're like, well, just draw. And then it turns out that you've actually made a picture that's pertinent to whatever situation that's in your life. So,
So I found, I was looking into it and I was like, gosh, this is kind of interesting. And, and I could see some symbolism and some meaning. But then a person said, oh, I was watching a few different videos, and the one that I kind of ended it and stopped looking into it more was the person goes, oh, I'm getting this from my guides. And I'm like, I'm not so sure about this.
that's just self-deception. They don't understand that their subconscious, they're calling it their guide. That's no different than people that go on these psycho trips and then they see an animal guide or something like that. It's basically just another part of their mind that's been awakened at that time. It's all just completely down to earth. Let's get out of the clouds. We're men of dust, and this is just completely practical stuff. It's just not understood. So, it's like when Ezekiel saw the wheel within a wheel and everything like that. Well, what did he see? Or was this all symbolism? Or was this what his mind interpreted it to be? The South Americans.
Are you trying to talk me out of doing my ayahuasca DMT tripping?
No, actually, I'm for it. Go ahead, do it. It's going to wake up another part of your mind.
I'll tell you, I was trying to forget my friend, the kid that's working for me, to do mushrooms.
You're trying to talk him out of it?
No, talk him into it. But, he's not.
What do they do? Don't they just increase your color perception?
Oh, no, man. One of the best trips I ever had was on mushrooms. I was in Hawaii, and it was just like my mind opened up, and everything made sense in the world, man. It was like, oh, it's all of this. I just kept remembering it's just all a game. It was like every single political thing was like all like to get ahead. You know what I mean? It was all to just,
the mysteries seem to make more sense, huh?
Everything, like more. Like they just want to get more. Like, whatever group. And, it's like you'd have different groups and they're all in the same club, but each little club, like, companies, like they're all for, it's okay. I'll give you an example. Like if you're a Freemason, now each one of those Masons are all at the top. They all got their own business, but, in reality, they all want to be on top and they all want it all, it's like, hey, let's get all the little guys who aren't Masons below us. So we'll work together to climb up the ladder. But then in between, inside our group, we're all competing to be above one another. It's like, it's just all a game. It's like, as in a game, as in everybody wants to win.
The wicked will always turn on themselves because they can trust the righteous to not betray them, but they can't trust one another because they know what their nature is like. So they'll always turn on one another.
It's definitely interesting. I hadn't heard that before, but that's
definitely that's in Proverbs. It's in Proverbs.
You definitely see that in business or whatever. It's a competitive world out there.
It's also in the book of Enoch.
I mean, when you think about it, how like trickery, it's like we pretend we're friends like lawyers. I mean, you got two sides. They both are bar association dues paying members, but they're both trying to outwit each other. But the end result is they both win anyway. Nobody goes to jail. Not both attorneys don't. They both get paid, but they're still trying to beat each other in something that doesn't even have anything to do with him.
That's why they call it a court.
Right, yeah, they're playing the game. What's played on a court? A game. But anyway. So anyway, I was trying to talk him into doing the mushrooms. He's like, no way, man. I was like, man, I'm telling you, man, open up. You need some reality check.
Is he just like really naive or what?
No, he's just like, oh, he just smokes weed. That's it. And drinks.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, you need to get rid of the drinking and just, trip.
Yeah, hard to say. It's, tough to find a healthy replacement for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stop is like a lot of times not realistic, where they got to find something to replace that behavior. You gotta break out your toolbox there, Albert, of the crickets.
Can't. They removed it because they're meanies.
Hey, there he is. I didn't think that guy was still around.
They removed all the sound effects and stuff.
Did you hear Chris say Enoch and Stacy, I think, about Enoch there?
No.
It said that he'll cause the fallen angels to turn on one another.
What will?
I'm just talking about the wicked will always, their first choice is to betray another wicked person, because they know that a righteous person, they can trust them, but they cannot trust a wicked person because they know what their nature is like, because they have the same nature. So they'll always choose to betray the wicked before they would betray the righteous.
Right.
And that's in Proverbs. I think it's in Ecclesiastes, but it's also in Enoch, where God says, I will, cause them to turn on one another, the fallen angels.
Right.
So they'll destroy. You remember that part?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then that whole thing, and make their children kill each other. They'll have to watch.
Sometimes it happens, Albert. It's just you can't wait.
Sometimes see-through people have wings.
Yes, that's what I've been trying to tell you, man.
I mean, sometimes buffaloes have wings.
Yeah, and sometimes they have a buffalo body with a man upper body and head.
Yep. Minotaurs and.
Oh, that's what. See, What movie was it that just? Did you guys see Bright with the Netflix original movie with Will Smith where he's the cop that just came out?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
None of you guys seen it? Yeah. Oh, okay. So Will Smith, it's a Netflix original, but it's like done up like a real Hollywood, box office movie. And it's an hour and 57 minutes, but basically it's like in the future, but everything's kind of the same as today. The only difference is it's in the future, but instead of some they didn't change the guns or no cars, none flying ships. It's identical. The only difference is these things called orcs. This guy has a partner. Now there's aliens living amongst us, but basically they look just like us, except they got tattoos weird and their faces are a little different. But this guy, Will Smith, has the first orc who's his partner. And, but it's trippy, man. There's this one scene in it where it's like, there's elves, orcs, and there's like these different gangs, and they have like crazy powers. But it's like anyway. It's on Netflix. It's called Bright, and it's pretty it's all right. Anyway, they had a minotaur in it. And I was like, what the hell is that? A minotaur? Anyway, I guess you had to be there. But
the minotaur was like a half man, half bull, but it was part deity or something.
Well, they found a few what do you call it? Skeleton remains of it in Arizona and in Pennsylvania. That's up at that museum by you, right, Albert?
Uh, maybe in the Mutter Museum. That's got all sorts of weird stuff.
There's actually skeletons of minotaurs.
Yeah, it's
Nah, I was just messing with Albert.
yeah. No, there really is a weird museum near me though that has goofy stuff, like really weird stuff, like
Ripley's, believe it or not.
fetuses in jars and stuff like that.
That was Rasputin's penis in a jar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they the women in Russia, they just loved him, but nobody really knew why. And he was just so dirty and grotesque looking and never bathed, never did anything. But then they found out that he had a 12-incher or 10-incher or something like that. And so after he died, they shot him, they strangled him, they slit his throat, they threw him in the pond. But then they found that the way that he died was that he actually drowned. But then after that, the women were outraged and they went and cut it off and put it in a jar. And now one of his descendants has it.
Weird.
That was a long story, Stacy.
Did I make it too short, too long?
It was supposed to be a joke.
Oh, he was a pretty wicked looking guy.
Was he a minotaur?
He'd be in Minotaurs and Nephilim. That's what they all think. It's like, oh, the Anunnakis are Nephilims, and
Everybody thinks that, but you, Albert, I don't know what you're talking about.
anything that's half this and half that is a Nephilim to them. So I guess basically spider goats are Nephilims. I don't believe in spider goats though. I think it's made up.
Horns could be a symbol of power and authority, and wings could be a symbol of agility or being able to get things done, productivity.
Yeah. Doesn't actually mean that they had wings or
Would that just be like natural evolution then?
Eyes could not necessarily have to represent, these fleshly things that we have in our eye sockets, but it could mean insight. So Metatron, who is in the book of Enoch, where Enoch was lifted up into heaven and he became the scribe, and so his name changed to Metatron. He has these wings and they're filled with eyes. So if you look at, I think it's called Devil Boy, or what is that with the
Hellboy.
Hellboy. You see in the
Great
probably
movie.
second movie or something, you see this great big like demon with wings, and he has eyes in his hands or something like that, or something weird. That's directly from that type of imagery. So really, if your wings were filled with eyes, it can mean that you had insight in all of your actions and you were able to be very productive. That's just what I think.
mm-hmm.
So in verse 20, where it says everything is indeed clean. So do you think that's what, like, the Hebrew roots, and people would say, well, all things clean are clean? That's kind of redundant, don't you think? Where everything means everything clean, and then is indeed clean.
What verse?
Verse
14?
20
Oh.
in Romans 14.
Isn't there somewhere else where it says the same thing, pretty much?
Yeah, it's either in 15 or it's in 1 Corinthians 8, 9, or 10. Those are the 5 chapters.
Is everybody sleeping?
Sort of. Were you talking about the food thing or in regards?
Just where it kind of repeats that thing about, there's nothing unclean.
Is that Mark 16:9? I can't remember.
Oh, right. That's in the gospel where they were washing their hands, right?
Where's the one where you throw it? It's like it goes into your belly and you poop it out. That's it.
Yeah.
Let me see that one.
And that's written in red.
Uh-oh. Huh. Got him. All right, let's see. Mark 16:9. Did you guys see the dual prophecy, or what is it? Two brothers prophecy. What's his name? The guy that came on here before.
Dan? No, I haven't seen any. I thought I was subscribed to him.
Yeah,
I guess
he had
I'm
one
not.
a few days ago, didn't he?
I didn't see it either, but 2 regular guys at prophecy or something
Yeah.
like that.
What did
It
he
was
put?
16:9, right? No. What was it, Mark? What?
16:9, I think. If that's
No.
just memory. No, not it.
No, 9 is now when Jesus was risen early of the day of the first week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom.
Okay. Let's see. Mark 7:14. I can't remember.
It is Matthew 15:11 and Mark 7:15.
How different do they read?
Matthew.
Nothing outside. This is Mark 7:15. Nothing outside a person can defile them by going into them. Rather, it is what comes out of a person that defiles them. What was the other one?
15:11 Matthew.
Okay. So Mark's a little more, gives a little more, there is nothing from without a man. Let me read the chapter or the verse before it. Just read Matthew. Hold on, I want to try something here.
Mark 7:19.
What's that say?
In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean.
Yeah, that's not there though, right?
Yeah, it is. It's just in parentheses, but so that's Mark putting it in parentheses, but it's not italicized, so it's not like not there. It really is in the Greek.
So why would they do that again?
Mark is saying this is what Jesus said this, and in saying this, and then this is Mark's commentary.
But it's in the Greek?
Yes. Mark wrote Mark. So as he's writing Mark, and he's under the guidance of the Holy Spirit, he's saying, and by doing this, this is what Jesus did.
Don't the Hebrew roots people, though, they teach that that wasn't in the original Greek or something? I thought it was...
Only the words that are italicized, slanted, those are the ones that are not in the original Greek, but they're put in there so that it helps an English reader. Also, you've got Titus 1:15. That's a good one.
What's that say?
It says, to the pure, all things are pure. Let me read the whole thing. To the pure, all things are pure, but to those who are corrupted and do not believe, nothing is pure. In fact, both their minds and consciences are corrupted. They profess to know God, but they deny him by their actions. They are detestable, disobedient, and unfit for any good deed. And then you've got Acts 10:15. That's the Peter's vision. And it says, the voice spoke to him a second time, do not call anything impure that God has made clean. That's talking about people, but, it's using animals.
Who's that, Zachary?
Yep. Great time to put some subliminal messages in there.
Zachary.
Zachary, you are a modalist.
Zachary.
You are a
White is lying to you. You are
Cryptocurrency is the devil. We should all
crypto.
become Muslims.
Hey, whoa. Well, it's funny you put cryptocurrency, James White, and Islam all in the same.
That must mean they're all the devil. So what were you guys just talking about?
I just realized something. Because now I have a pet mouse.
Mm-hmm.
I know I want to be a little bit more careful because I didn't realize, but a couple of weeks ago, I actually insulted my mouse before I knew him when I called James White a rat. I insulted the rat.
That's mean. You're supposed to show love.
Yeah, I know. I'm loving my rat, my little Albie, little Albie.
Oh my god, so should have named him Young Buck.
Let's see what he's doing.
Snoop Doggy Dog.